Hey guys, welcome back. You're here with After Hours. I'm your host Ruben Cabral. We have David, Jody, Russell, Salman, Franklin, Benaldi, Angela, Hannah, and Lola. So, first of all, I just want to ask, how would you feel if I were to say the only job a woman should have is to cook, clean, and make babies?
I'll see it as a joke.
All right, Angela.
Same.
Anyone else?
No way. What?
Okay. Now, how would you feel if I were to say men with small hands will never be seen as a potential lover?
With small hands?
Yeah, small hands.
What does hands have to do with
No, I
anything?
can't lie though. It's like.
Okay.
No, listen. You like. I don't know if any of you others have like manly hands. Like people have like.
What, veins and stuff?
No, not veins.
Just
manly
big hands.
Like,
I have veins.
like low key, like if your hands were bigger than your man's hands, like if you guys went to like lock hands and like his were like thing, wouldn't you be like, what the hell is going on?
Are we talking about calluses and stuff?
No,
No, it's just
guys.
talking about
Like
big
rough
hands.
hands.
No, just the it's size wise.
So I imagine you would date someone that's
No,
tall.
no. I'm not saying like
Or just
myself, but I'm saying like people have that. Do you know
Okay.
what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying that from like my personal preference. I'm just saying that in
I
general.
don't know, you
people-
jumped on that pretty quickly though. You
Okay.
were right on that.
Now, how would you feel if I would say that slut shaming is good, as it stops women from getting out of hand? In doing this, we stop them from being trash, and girls are insane when they become unsupervised.
See, you just expanded into a crazy point of view. Like slut shaming, in my opinion, is like a weird way that people have called it. I feel like promiscuity is a good thing. It's good to have like a single partner. It stops the spread of HIVs. It encourages more families, less single parent households. At the end of the day, is better for society as a whole. But I feel like slut shaming has just become a thing where like it's a way to shut down the conversation instead of actually saying women should not be having sex with so many people, men should not be having sex with so many people and stick with a single partner. People just say you're slut shaming and that's the end of it, and you can't really say anything after that.
Now, how would you feel if I would say men below 5'5" will never have a female partner?
That's just not true.
That's not true.
If they have money,
Five
then
what?
5'5".
5'5".
Kevin Hart's like what, 5'4"?
Yeah.
No.
He is.
Is he?
He's 5'4".
Roddy Rich,
Roddy Rich 5'6".
You're shorter than me.
Roddy Rich is 5'6". Kim Jong Un is like 5'5".
Oh, he's King Jong-un's out.
But all of the people
That guy's got concubines,
all
that
of
guy's
the
got
people-
everything.
I don't think they will
all of
never
the
like
people are
have
successful.
a wife or whatever you said. I just feel like in today's society, like it would be harder for them
Okay.
to, in my opinion.
Well, all the comments that I've just made were in fact actual real comments made by incels. Now, incels are short for involuntary celibates, and they're members of an online subculture who define themselves as unable to find a romantic or sexual partner despite desiring one, a state that they describe as inceldom. Now, incels they've taken rise, and they typically blame this due to the rise of feminism and how women now are more free to be themselves. So as a result, it's led to more issues of terrorism, for example, where there was an incel who killed 6 people and wounded 14 in a mass shooting in Santa Barbara. Now, the question is, are incels a product of a society that has chosen to put down men? Thoughts?
Wait, just one thing. Incels are voluntary celibates, right?
Involuntary.
Involuntary celibates.
Yeah.
I don't think it's due to a society that's chosen to put down men. I feel like society's always had this purview of what an attractive man should be and what an attractive man attracts females. I feel like if they don't fit into that category, they should look to improve other characteristics of themselves. Like not all men are attractive. That's why funniest men may not be the most attractive. That's why the richest men may not be also the most attractive. You have to find ways to improve yourself to attract females rather than expecting them to come to you.
Okay. Well, an argument could be that despite that, there could be men born with certain physical disabilities, or they're just naturally ugly.
Yeah, but there's also women that are like that as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually one of the arguments that they present, that because of feminism, women are they're more accepted for their unattractiveness compared to men.
Yeah, I see that. Because like it's like there's a whole movement that's like about body positivity.
Like acceptance.
Yeah, and that type of thing. And I think that fits into somewhere along the same category, but it's not necessarily the same. It's something that is pushed onto us to like accept and is spoon fed. But whereas we don't hear as much on incels,
So
Do you think we should hear more about them?
No.
Why not?
why not?
Because I don't. It's not. It's. I don't understand it.
Why don't you understand it? What?
Because it's involuntary celibacy.
So
Yeah.
nobody wants to get.
That's
Yeah.
not involuntary celibacy. That's just because you can't. Like, you're not putting yourself out there
You
enough.
can't secure it.
Putting
so-
yourself
But, like,
out there
but
enough.
wait,
no.
so
But
it's
I-
also-
They're saying,
I know-
they're saying that the rise of feminism is the cause of them being celibate. It's because you
But why
are
is it the
being
cause of
proud.
them being celibate?
Because, like, you know, have you heard of the statement of, oh, women don't like to date down? You understand?
Oh,
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So because, like, obviously, a normal man and a normal woman, now with proper feminism, can both achieve,
Sorry, wait. Proper feminism.
as in equality between men and women.
Right.
Why don't we just call it equality?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, you can't do that.
It's not allowed.
It's feminist.
The overlords don't want that.
Because a woman can now get the same amount as a man, she will not date someone that is on the same level or lower. She'd always go for somebody that's above. That's what That's what the
Right,
phrase
right. But
means.
do
I
you
think
not think
that's
that's
true.
because of generalizing? Because right here, you've literally just said women.
But I think like men and women do the same.
Yeah.
I think they
Well,
both.
I think it may be a little opposite for men because
Yeah.
they,
Wait,
the
I have a
feminine-
question.
I don't want
so
someone
you guys
below me.
think like the woman is like goes for someone who's like
Better
not
than
better,
her.
but
I
basically
I think it's better than her.
Yeah.
better than her.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't do that.
You
I don't
date
think that's
someone
true.
So you date down.
Wait,
does
that's a
makes
lie.
less money.
That's a lie.
That is
No, no.
such a lie.
Keep on track.
Listen,
Can we
no,
keep on track?
personally, I mean, I don't know if this, but I've always been told like by my older cousins who are Albanian, and they're like, they always say like the female. This is obviously just take it how it is, but they'll say the female always has to be a little bit prettier, just so the man feels as though like, you know, like I've got like a pretty.
What's the
Like,
man
I
thing?
think-
That's the man
What's
thing.
your man thing?
I
That's what I'm
think
trying
we
to say.
select
I don't
for
think-
different
I don't
qualities.
think-
We're
I
talking
don't- yeah.
economically,
No, but
not
then
like
wouldn't a
physically.
female feel insecure if she knows that her partner is like better looking?
That's true.
We're not talking about
economically.
looking.
We select
We're
for
talking about
different
money.
like qualities.
Yeah.
That's what.
But-
That's
But,
what we're
no,
but
talking
did we
about.
not just say that if you're not attractive,
think-
you're gonna try and like
Yeah.
make it up somewhere else? So it does
I feel like
So would you
boil
date
down
someone
to
that was
attractiveness
like
because
really pretty but just makes less money than you?
sorry.
Would you, would you date someone that's like relatively pretty but makes less money than you?
What would I go for someone?
Someone makes
relatively-
less money.
Yeah, but like is pretty.
It-
'Cause
but
he's
for
trying to
me,
make
it
up
doesn't
for it.
just depend on that. That's not the defining factor. Like
What
there's
is that?
other stuff that comes
Yeah,
into
but
play.
like
What's
If
the
it's just-
defining
if-
factor?
If I'm gonna be with him based on just those two things, whether he's attractive and if he makes money or not,
yeah.
that's not gonna work out, is it? There's
Obviously.
other
I
stuff.
feel like
Okay, so tying this back to incels. So you guys were talking about thing money. So if someone was to be unattractive, but they were able to like provide for themselves monetarily, would that sort of be the cure to stopping incels?
It's where the
What?
problem comes.
Wait, say that
because-
again.
You can't
If you
stop
have money,
that.
can you basically get a girl? Is what you're saying?
I think it's not money in general. Jordan Peterson did a study where it wasn't actually having money, but having the opportunities and having the like outlook to make money. That was what was most attractive to females, because females don't really necessarily go for guys who are born into wealth, but they go for guys who have ambition, who are saying, yes, this is where I am now,
That's true.
and this is where I can be in give 5 years, and that's what females like to see. They like to. This is my own personal view. I have no facts based on this, but I believe that females like to help build up their man to become something that they know that he can be. And I feel like in their own eyes is their little pet project, and they fall in love with it as they encourage it and build it on further.
But the
Tony,
argument
why are you
for
laughing?
What if the man just stops doing that? Then they
Then,
just break up.
then the opposite starts to happen.
So
when you start
there's
getting
no such thing as
resentment.
unconditional love.
Well, there is, but it comes at a certain point. If you just stop working on yourself, and I'm still, okay, say you and somebody else, if that person keeps on working, say they go to the gym, they're trying to educate themselves so that they can be good for themselves as well as for you, and you don't do the same thing, then it's kind of like you're taking the piss, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I get that.
So you can't really say,
But I feel like that links back to incelism, because is that the word?
probably not.
It's already a
Try
made up
again.
word. It's a portmanteau
But I
anyways.
feel like that links back to it, because I feel like how they see it is that men can work on themselves and improve themselves, but women are in a society where they are loved no matter what. If they're obese, if they're anorexic, if they have any form of disorder, mental or physical, they should be loved and they should be treated equally. But men are still in that position where they have to improve on themselves in one way or another. I feel like that's what incels.
I don't
Wait.
think so.
I got a theory.
Really?
on this. I've got a
I
theory
think
on
it
this.
could be a point of where it's what men and women have to offer. Because with men, it tends to be the the financial aspect. Whereas with women, it's like, can she take care of the house? Can she take care of the family? So if all else fails, at least she can still do that.
That's
Essentially,
But then
we're
the
talking
problem
about
here is
traditional
that-
values.
So
Yeah.
since you already have those traditional values, there's nothing you can really need. There's no need for you to really improve
Yeah.
on so much.
'Cause
Yeah,
there's
I
no-
get
That is
it.
actually one
else,
of the things that incels argue for return to traditional values, where a world where feminism doesn't really exist, and women are expected to cook, clean, do everything that like feminism basically tried to free
Shun.
women of.
I think
Well,
they
the thing-
shun
Yeah,
it
shun,
now.
shun. But like the point is, do you feel like return to traditional values would result in a happier world, as incels say?
Traditional values. I mean, like two-parent households.
Two-parent households.
Those those things, the building blocks of our society.
You're
I
just
feel like it
talking
would.
about like a small aspect, like
Oh.
traditional values are also. Are you talking like the bigger,
The whole thing.
wider,
Like,
the whole
yeah.
thing? Because
Because
just
they're not
like
all bad.
a
I don't
two-parent
think so
household,
much.
that stuff, yeah, everyone
Yeah.
would agree that that's better.
But like, I feel like the whole concept of women being seen, not heard, isn't really profitable because households make more money when both partners are working. They are more successful when both partners feel
if
equal.
both partners are working, then traditional values, like regardless, they wouldn't be practiced as much as in the olden days. Because if they're both working, they're both coming home like a 9 to 4 job. You can't expect the female to like cook, clean, and then what's the man doing? Do you know what I mean? So traditional value, you can't have like all the traditional values and then just like I don't know, like what you said, the like have the I lost it, sorry. Yeah, you just can't have the traditional values, like all of them imposed all together.
That's true.
Right.
The one thing that the one problem I have with all this is, you say involuntary celibate. What do they mean by involuntary?
They can't get women. That's
But then based on but then that's the problem, because based on everything we've literally been talking about, there are so many different possibilities and so many different ways people and men can find a partner for themselves. This is a natural selection where if you just have one,
I think it is.
No, it's not, because
think it's natural
because
selection.
Here's the thing, this
We
isn't
pick
where,
on different qualities.
no, but it's not a matter of if you only have these characteristics, you are going to survive. Like people look for more than just one or any different characteristics. Is like Lola said, it's not just a matter of making money or just a matter of looking attractive. There's so many different factors that come into it. Therefore, my question is, what are they complaining about? Because based on the word itself, involuntary celibate, the fact that they even calling themselves involuntary, despite the fact it's not really the case, should
That's what they're saying.
no, but it's not. No, but what I mean is, they don't.
They're not trying hard enough.
Exactly,
Yeah,
they're not trying
I
hard enough.
agree.
Therefore, they're just coming to a conclusion based on despair and other emotions that they might be feeling, and coming to a short-term decision that they are involuntary. Nothing that they do is going to be appreciated, but that's not the case, because if you even zoom out of let's say romantic relationships, any type of relationship, if that is successful, then they clearly have the capacity in order to pursue a romantic relationship as well, because the only point where you would really be involuntary is if you were physically and mentally incapable
That's
of
a
doing so.
true point as well.
Therefore, what are they actually complaining about?
Well,
because the solution's right in front of them.
Yeah, the most vocal group, essentially, I feel my take on it is that they're complaining about the lack of sex and relationships that they have. However, I feel like doing more studying on it, I found that most incels, they talk about the lack of respect that they get. You know, like due to the frequent disrespect.
You
that
can't expect to get
Wait,
respect
let me
if you've
finish,
done
let me
nothing.
finish. Like they feel like they get, as men, they get more disrespected than women who are in the same position as them. Like, say for example, they get judged for being short, for being unattractive, for being virgins, for being overweight, more so than women. And like the argument that they would say that is looking at entertainment and media. Like, say for example, you're watching say actresses, you know. One argument that I saw was that Melissa McCarthy is praised as being like attractive.
Who's
even-
Melissa McCarthy?
Some overweight lady, I don't know.
Yeah, she
Overweight.
was great. Can't say that. She was in.
Oh, Ghostbusters,
Overweight
that's
lady,
it.
what the fuck?
Yeah, she was, and
What
she was in
about her?
something else.
So
Some
yeah,
undercover spy.
Yeah.
Identity Thief.
I don't know
one.
any of those
I'll
movies.
show you.
I think But yeah, so the point is, right, yeah, she's praised as being attractive even though she's overweight, and comparatively to someone like Josh Gad, the guy from The Wedding Ringer, or the gay guy
Why do you
in
want
Beauty and
these
the Beast.
weird movies?
No, that one.
This is the examples that's being presented to me. But yeah,
Let me see.
otherwise in movies, he's
Why is your face like that?
yeah.
I think she's
She's
really
got a
pretty.
decent face.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't my
I
personal
won't lie.
But yeah, like another overweight male in the movie is gonna be like frequently made fun of for his weight, and even so, like in modern media as well, is presented as something to make fun of men for being lesser than women. Like the whole last summer, for example, all you're hearing was eight rich
The
nigga
hot
eight
girl
figure. That's
summer.
my type. That's all you were hearing last summer. And they feel, and insults feel this. I feel like most of them feel that they get a lack of respect and it's not right. Even though they're trying to make changes, or even if they don't want to make changes, they feel that they shouldn't have to be put down by a society that's becoming more progressive for women.
I've
I
read
Why are they
understand
so
that.
focused
That
on
makes so much sense.
social influence if that's the case?
I feel like it's because they've grown up in a society or setting where they've never had to change their behavior or themselves to improve to a situation.
No, but do you think that that's right?
What?
To begin with, so like for example, so like in the case of involuntary celibacy, do you not think that most of them would, at least the numbers would decrease if women felt more comfortable asking men out? Because there's more, like you say that they're not trying, but as a tendency, like they probably have gone
Yeah,
up
but
to a woman
if we
and they
sh-
said, "Ew, you're disgusting," and left. That's like
That's probably happened.
That's probably
who says
happened.
that, sorry?
huh? Like
What?
when
The
If it
woman.
was
So you go up to a girl and she's like, no.
yeah.
Did you see that girl?
Oh,
on
you
Snapchat?
look
It was
like
just
a pigeon.
She was like, who do you think you are trying to chat to me? Don't ever come up, pop up to me
yeah,
again.
That's
A
mess.
woman
Like, things
who
like
saw
that.
him as attractive came up to him and said, "Oh, do you want to go out?" He probably wouldn't be involuntary celibate. He probably would
Ever.
agree because like that in that case, and even on the point about body positivity, like it doesn't make, if people really, like for example, if we had complete equality between men and women, we wouldn't be boasting about like, oh, body positivity for women and then be degrading men for their body for their body. Doesn't really make sense.
That's my main problem with
So
feminism.
so
Thank you, David.
Sorry. Carry on, Franklin.
so like in that case, like logically speaking, it does make sense that they do have a problem, and to say that they have to try harder because they were born this way, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not necessarily fair to blame them on the issues.
Not blaming them, just saying like you can try harder, because as we gave examples of, these are what celebrity examples. I'm sure that there are many men who are 5'5" who have found women and who have had children with them, found happy, loving relationships. Like, it's not a rare thing. So my whole concept is, how come they are able to improve themselves, they are able to better themselves, but you are stuck in a cycle where you believe that it should come to you rather you go into it. I feel
Yeah, and besides, as the common saying goes, there's plenty of fish in the sea. So if you just because if you simply try once and then you
Just
and
stop.
yeah, that it's completely illogical.
I don't know. I mean,
Who knows? Maybe they keep trying.
And then they keep
Now
They
from-
keep failing.
that's
Yeah,
the thing.
but who
they
told them
try
to stop?
again.
Yeah.
Exactly. You get up and you try.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
right,
my
right.
god.
But the point is,
There's a point where
the
it
point
just
is
like
also the
gets
fact that They
unnecessary.
just give up. That's the issue. Like, they've been put down by society and people around them for so long that they feel that this is just going to be the rest of their lives. So they join a community where they feel safe, where there are others like them. They have safety in numbers. The same way, I'm not actually equating it to feminism, but I feel like this is how they view it themselves. Like, the same way women were treated and looked down upon by the rest of the patriarchal society. That's the same way men think these incels feel like in this new age where feminism is is a strength and is proposed within the modern society.
The thing is, feminism is equality between both genders. So
Yeah, but their
That's
argument
what
is that it's
is.
not creating equality, but in fact, it's creating an inequality for those that are more undesirable.
yeah, but
Okay.
then, like I said before,
But
Wait,
them
what?
being undesirable relies on multiple different factors. If they're just self-shaming themselves for the sake of having no money, for example, then they can't really develop a sustainable argument, because then why would they blame their lack of why would they blame feminism for their undesirability? Because they're only focusing on one aspect of them. There's multiple different aspects of them that are easier to improve than the one they're focusing on. So why don't they focus on those ones first and then come back to the one that they're really struggling with? Because if you keep your mind onto one thing that is constantly bothering you, you're not going to get away from it. So the only way you can begin to get away from it is if you start focusing on others. For example, you're in a stressful situation. You take a 45-minute break doing something that you enjoy or something that will put you in a different mood. You could be in a much better state than you were the last 45 minutes to an hour you were in. So my point is, getting your mind off it could allow you to view different aspects of yourself, which would allow you to see that it's not on feminism to determine your undesirability, because feminism isn't even the thing that's causing it in the first place. It's just a matter of your own opinion and what you are blaming your own opinions on.
And also, I feel like we need to not more or less scrap the idea of undesirable standards of beauty on both parts of the on both genders, because unattainable, because for example, women would complain that models and fashion magazines, they promote an unattainable standard of beauty.
I mean, it's attainable. There's people like that.
Yeah, but like unsustainable or unattainable, I feel like we need to because if we're able to scrap those and say like, and because it's always putting a ceiling on ourselves, saying that we can never reach that, so we should just get rid of it. If you look at comic books and what superhero movies as well, you see these male superheroes with like 8-packs and 6-packs. The majority of the males watching that aren't having that, and they may be thinking to themselves, well, I want to be like that. You hardly ever hear men saying these are unattainable standards of beauty, but you see them as motivational and saying, yes, I want to be like so and so. So I feel like if we're able to say they're not unattainable, but you can reach them, even if no one ever does reach them, just the idea that you can reach them, I feel like is much more positive than calling it unattainable and we should scrap it.
It's a growth
So you don't
mindset at
think
the
we
end of
should
the
scrap
day.
it?
I think
You think there should still be models?
I feel like there should be models and all of this, but I feel like the concept of it being unattainable and therefore we should scrap it should just be left in the past.
I don't know if you guys know, but they put like a plus size model on the front of a magazine once, and when I mean plus size,
Tess
I mean,
Holiday.
Wait, what?
No, I'm just like
She
it
stole
was,
all the burgers from McDonald's.
and then
Yo,
Piers
the 10-minute silence.
and then Piers Morgan was like, absolutely not. This shouldn't be because.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So then, if you're like saying, oh, like it's unattainable, and then you're like showing like, oh, body positivity for like, there's no win situation because even she got so much hate. Like, why would they put her on the front? Because she wasn't like, she was in a bikini, like on the front.
But I feel like when you're calling, I feel like when you're saying it's a non-win-win situation, I feel like there is truly a win situation. That is
So do you think we should have plus size models in magazines?
Personally, no, because it promotes unhealthy eating
That's
disorders.
what Piers Morgan.
Because if you think about Lizzo, for example, Lizzo has a lot of fans who are like, oh yes, if you can't love me at my worst, you can't love me at my best, and they're out here eating all the time, not really doing a lot of exercise, and out here like maintaining this unhealthy standard of body or whatever, self-worth. Because the day Lizzo decides that yes, I have to get healthy or else I'm going to be unable to have good childbirth or unable to be healthy.
Plus size, you're saying it's an unhealthy image.
I feel like it's an
promoting,
unhealthy
But then
image, yeah.
skinny models,
exactly.
No,
they have, you don't understand the strict diets they have.
Yeah.
But then you
Going
don't
to
have
the
to
gym,
present
that is
as
also
skinny.
completely like unhealthy to promote to young girls or even like anyone for that matter. So,
Most men don't find that attractive though.
huh?
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Most men don't find that attractive.
You know, like skinny,
super skinny
you
models.
don't have to be ridiculously skinny. You just have to project somebody that's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be plus size or plus. You just need to be like.
So these
Like,
these arguments that you guys are
Gotta have a
presenting,
bit
these-
of junk in the trunk. You
Hey,
get what I'm
don't-
saying?
don't-
I said 10 minutes silence.
Hey, so these arguments that you guys are presenting about plus size models and like the images that they push onto us, that's essentially
Nice.
See what I
Is that who
mean?
you were talking
The
about?
thing
You
is,
see
it's a
what I mean?
magazine.
Nah.
People buy magazines
Yeah.
to.
I don't
look
want
at
to
stuff.
buy that.
So, yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Wait,
Hold
it's
with your
about-
dollars in it.
But wait, sorry, can I quickly
wait,
just say
what?
something funny? Like, there was like a whole like debate about it, and then some lady was like, Piers Morgan was like totally against it. He was like, absolutely not, this and that. And some girl on national television, she was like, yeah, but you're not exactly skinny yourself, and he
Oh yeah,
got
and
so.
then you shut her down.
Yeah.
It's like
What
I'm
guy?
6'2", I'm this
six-
and that, and I
So
was
and so
like,
pounds.
Yeah.
I'm moderately overweight. You're 5'3", 307. You're obese.
It's the facts of the situation.
you very much.
Because there's a difference between sending a message for acceptance and a message for promotion of that acceptance. Because judging people by their appearances is one thing. Promoting extreme body types for the sake of equality is a different thing, because you have, I'm not sure how to word this properly, but if you were to judge somebody completely based on their appearances and come to a conclusion that they behave in this way, or they have these views, or they believe in such and this and that, that's the point where we see as unacceptable. But where do you draw the line between that and actually starting to say, okay, there's extreme body types, we should promote it so that everybody feels like they are, like, so that nobody feels a lack of self-worth. But the lack of self-worth is starting from the judgment in the first place. So
So, yeah.
where
So
do-
essentially, like, to sort of cap this in something from a voice as well, like this glorification of poor body health. We promote like these, these supermodels and these, I think, like ripped superheroes and stuff like that.
but that
Just
happens
sort
to
of
both
cap it.
genders.
Hmm?
But that happens to both genders.
That happens to both genders, yeah. But in terms of like incels, right? Because that's how incels feel. Everything is just going to women, and everything about poor body image is promoted for women, but for men is considered very undesirable. So the thing is to stop that, should we stop putting these plus size models on top of magazines and stuff?
But the thing I don't get is, isn't it? Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it that that women get shamed more than men do?
No, the argument is that men get shamed
Yeah,
more than
so-
women.
So
That's
that's
not
one.
true.
That's
Wait,
just
because
not
yeah,
true.
because
Wait, you-
That's
look,
just not true.
what?
That
Men
Men
get shamed more
get
than men.
shamed a lot more in public than women.
I feel like so.
I feel
What
like
do you think?
And I feel like it's
Actually,
also.
this is me
yeah.
asking. Like,
Because
who,
if I
who does
cuss
it
you,
more?
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
come back at me,
Yeah.
so it's not like anybody's taking anything. Whereas if I insult, say Angela or something, and then she takes it to heart, it's more of a problem.
But I feel like it depends on what part of the world you're looking at. In our part of the world, it's more. I think you talked about this earlier. TV shows, they always promote this idea of like the wife is the superhero of the family, and like the dad is like I think Bill
Yeah,
Maher
yeah.
said it right. He said some dumb fuck lucky to meet her, and like it was this comedy skit because like it does normally promote this sense of males in the family being irresponsible with money, this that, and the other, while females are like the superheroes of the dynamic. So I was thinking that like if I believe that men are shamed more, but like we can take it on the chin better than women, and we shouldn't like end up, because it goes back to their statement of equality, because if we're truly going to be equal, then men should be allowed to shame women as much as they shame men, and if we're to do that, it just ruins the whole dynamic, in my personal opinion. But
Can I ask a question quickly? Like when we were talking about body positivity, obviously we were talking about like stuff that you can actually improve. But there are a lot of things that we can improve, like in the start of the discussion, manly hands and height difference. There's like a lot of things that we physically can't change that we put out there as like, oh, these ones are the good ones and these ones are the bad ones. So what do you think about like, a short superhero or a superhero with smaller and tiny?
We've got Ant-Man.
It's a distant example.
But like
but Daredevil's
naturally.
blind.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
But
I
So
feel
it's
like,
Batman
that's what they mainly talk about. Like a man can't be a superhero if he's overweight. I mean, that's been disproven by the new Avengers movie with Thor. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
oh,
but that's
that was temporary though.
yeah, but that's what they talk about, the Hollywood standard. Like everyone, like a man can't be ugly, but a woman can.
I think
And
he's on
that's okay.
steroids though, Chris Hemsworth.
Nah, he just
I think he
he's
actually
just-
might
he's
be on
just wild.
steroids.
But yeah,
Who?
Chris Hemsworth.
That's not the point. That's not the point, man. That's not the point. But yeah, so do you feel like that's the case that women are allowed to, like, now it's become more acceptable for women to not be beautiful compared to men?
How can you like generalize the word beautiful? Because someone might find you so not attractive.
You can really generalize it to a certain point because for
Actually,
like
you
the
can't.
for like the male perspective, what a beautiful woman will be someone who is from biological standings, like having what wide hips, wide chest, long arms, things like this, like clear skin, flowing hair, because this signifies like youth ready to have children. This is from a biological standpoint, and that's what in a man clicks in the head of beauty. For women as well, a tall man, like you said, manly hands that can protect, broad shoulders. These are physical aspects that, to a certain degree, explain what is attractive to a woman. So you have like a clear outline, but then obviously it gets more in depth.
But do you agree that someone can find someone pretty and someone could like find the other person, the same person?
Yeah,
So how
100%.
can you,
You
like,
can't find someone repulsive that's like generally attractive. You can't find them repulsive.
I
You can still like
Yeah.
have sex with them.
but recognize that
But
that they're pretty in themselves. Yeah.
I wanted to raise up something about competition, and I think that's like that's the main reason why they feel like they can't find sex, is because they see men that are
Chads, that's what they like.
that have like higher value than them, and they feel like they can't get to that standard.
Can I bring a controversial point of view?
Go ahead, but I'm gonna rebuttal.
Should we therefore legalize prostitution in order to make these incels feel like they should be?
100%.
That's actually one of the arguments.
What?
Legalize
They-
prostitution.
say
That they
yes.
should have forced monogamy.
Forced monogamy.
Oh, that's
Like,
crazy.
they should have like, not.
Or they should be
prostitution,
assigned
but
a
They should be
female.
assigned females.
They believe that.
Yeah, they
That's
believe
crazy.
Like,
That sounds like the Middle East.
That's crazy.
If you guys have ever read the Handmaid's
Handmaid's
Tale,
Tale,
yeah,
yeah.
No,
that's
that's-
essentially.
that's
what
not-
So wait,
they're
I
talking
can't
about.
make a
That's
decision?
just stupid.
Yeah,
That
that's-
sounds like
yeah, because it's-
every Middle
it-
Eastern
the-
country.
So
Oh,
wait, I
like.
cannot make a decision on who like if I see
The argument is that it provides a stable income and it prevents loneliness for men.
then
My
what about
issue
the
that I'm
women?
finding within this is literally centering around.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I personally disagree with that. I feel like
sympathy this whole time.
no. I personally think that
that's a
wait,
Off the
just
table, bro.
to be sure, though, this is a vocal minority. It's not everyone.
but like, I personally believe that like prostitution should be legalized in this regards, only to make them feel like they're more important, because escorts are they're a thing. They bring in money, they help people overcome their insecurities, and like at the end of all of it, it's still a service that they are being paid for. It's not like women are forced into these roles. Women could choose to be in these situations if they want to be.
Problem is, if prostitution was available, then why would they be in voluntary celibates?
They wouldn't be.
No, it's not. No, because the point, prostitutes are still available now, even though it's illegal. They're available. You can
Yeah.
go Amsterdam.
But I'm
and
saying,
have
but I'm
sex
talking
for
about
Do you
like,
think this doesn't happen?
but I'm,
Of course it
saying-
does.
but I'm saying that
Like,
if
just
well,
go down.
free of imprisonment.
Yeah.
So it's possible for you not to be an involuntary celibate with sex. But why are they still choosing to? That's the question. And
Because
they say
they're
it's
not
because
finding
of
them.
no. They say it's because of
because they
society.
don't they kind
Do
of
they want a relationship or just sex?
Now I feel like
How
you
much-
know what?
they kind of
Honestly,
Yeah, that's-
I feel like
you know, I'm
it's
not-
Yeah, I
That's
think
another
they
point.
want to feel like
Yeah,
somehow-
so I feel like-
Oh, this is a point I wanted to bring up. All right.
They want to
Dude,
feel
I had
like-
this in my head.
That's it. I don't think they, even if like prostitution was legalized, I still feel like they would still feel
Yeah.
sorry for themselves
because
because
they're
they
not
want it
respected
to
by
Because
be.
society.
it's empty sex.
I want it to be
Yeah,
genuine.
they want it
It's
to
something
be
that's
genuine. They want
not
it to
amazing.
be like a union of two,
I
like
think-
genuine.
Then therefore they have to actually go out there and present themselves.
yes,
That's
but
like-
we've already run around this, and they're not gonna
the
do
point
it.
is they
So
have, and they just.
It started
And
with
if they're
their
not gonna do that, then
parents.
it's on them, man.
yeah,
that's what I'm
so
saying.
yeah, it is on them, and it's also on them to pay the prostitutes for sex.
Let me
I
see.
feel
But
like
that's
this
not
is
the
a really
point
good
of it.
The
idea.
point is not to do that.
Why
The
not?
point is-
No, but because they want it to
Yeah,
be love,
it's
they want it
like-
to
It's not going to change
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
because they're not getting the love and respect that they feel like they
It's just short
deserve.
term.
But like, to be honest, how many loving relationships are there actually out?
Yeah. Let's
Like-
look at the root of this. Let's look at the root of this,
Because
right?
not all relationships. Wait, hang on with Jody.
Let's look
Wait,
at the
Jody,
root.
Jody. Because hang on, because if you think about it, like not all relationships 100% are like, oh yeah, we're all lovey-dovey all the time. Not always respecting, because now there's this major statistics that like half of all marriages end in divorce. Like unions aren't permanent anymore.
That's
That's
also
what I'm
a
saying.
problem. That's also a
So
problem.
that's-
Based
Yeah,
on,
that's what-
I wanted to talk about how the family unit has been broken down, and maybe they attribute that to feminism.
Yeah,
They
that's
see
what-
how
that's what-
feminism might have broken down their nuclear family. They've seen that in their dad. They've seen that in their mum. They've seen how they've separated. They've seen the lack of love that they've been given from like such a young age. And I think that's what set the ball rolling for them to be incels. They've become that way because of many factors. Those factors include maybe not having enough love from their dad or mum when they were younger, not seeing like the proper way to be in a relationship from their mother and dad because they had divorced parents, hence the higher divorce rates. And I think that might be pivotal. If anyone has any disagreements, you can.
Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. Incels, we just want to say that we love you.
Legalized
No,
prostitution.
You don't.
I get you.
But everyone's deserving of respect. Everyone's deserving of love. But you have to make that movement first.
Or legalized prostitution.
No.
Have we not been through this?
We have.
What's so bad about prostitution?
As a society, if we're going to
Yeah,
move
go for it.
forward, we have to be more accepting of each other. But